Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome guys, my name is Liaquat Zaman. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. This is the Mukhtasar al-Qudoori Hanafi Fiqh, and this is my channel, by the way, Roots of Knowledge. If you guys are not familiar with my channel, please check out the videos I make and hit the like, subscribe button, and let's go on with this thing. So this is the Mukhtasar of Qudoori. Right, so let's see what these words actually mean. So he says idda'a means to claim, and then mushtari is the buyer, akthar is more, qabada is to possess, shafi, you know what that is. Hattan means a discount, so a discount. Mushtari, qabada, shafi, mushtari yaltafit, to turn to. And then hat again, ba'ad, some, shafi. Then you have, check this out. So a lot of these words here is ziyada, extra, talzam, to become necessary, ijtama'a, to come together, shufa'a is the jama of shafi', and then adad, number, ru'us, heads, so ra's. Yu'tabaru, ikhtilaf, difference, ishtara, daran is the property, ard, ard means some goods, ishtaraha makil, something that's measured, mawzoon, weighed, aqar, estate, property. Okay, bi'at is the ba'a yabi'u, majhul, sold. Okay, again, bi'at. Hinta is wheat, sha'ir, barley. Taslim, to hand over, to waiver. Batil is void. Then you got dananir, gold coins. Right, so all of these words, anyway, you guys should know. Okay, this is supposed to be not shafaqa, shufa'a. Alright, so let's have a look at tarkeeb then. So again, a lot of these, the words are not really important to us at the moment. Okay, so alright, so either idda'a al-mushtari. Alright, so idda'a fi'l, al-mushtari is the file. Now you can't see the vowel on there because it's a naqis word. Thamanan is the maf'ul bihi, akthara, sifa, wadda'a al-bayi'u, فاعل, أقل غير منصرف مفعول به, لم يقبض مجزوم, ثمن مفعول به, أخذها في الفاعل, شفيء, بما قال البائع في الفاعل, كان ذلك حطا is the خبر of كان, على المشتري وإن كان قبض في الفاعل المفعول به, ثمن أخذ الشفيء في الفاعل, لم يلتفت إلى قول البائع وإذا حط البائع عن المشتري بعض مضاف, ثمن مضاف إليه, سقط ذلك عن الشفيء جار مجرور, وإذا حط الجميع الثمن مضاف لم يسقط عن الشفيء, إذا زاد المشتري البائع في الثمن لم تلزم الزيادة في الفاعل الشفيعة, وإذا اجتمع الشفعاء في الفاعل فالشفعة is the مبتدا بينهم على عدد رؤوسهم, ولا يعتبر اختلاف الأملاك مضاف إليه, من اشترى دارا. I guess all of these is very straightforward. This is بعرض جار مجرور, أخذها الشفيع قيمته, وإن اشترى بمكيل أو موزون جار مجرور. I'm sure you guys can work all this out. Right, and then he says بقيمة الآخر جار مضاف إليه, بلغ الشفيع, also بلغ الشفيعة, بلغ الشفيعة أنها بيعت, right, so it reaches the shafi', بيعت بألف فسلم, right, في الفاعل, ثم علم أنها بيعت بأقل أو بحنطة أو شعير أو وقيمتها 1000 أو أكثر, فتسليمه مبتدأ, and then باطل is the خبر, وله الشفعة is مبتدأ مؤخر, أو وإن بان يبينه في الفاعل أنها بيعت بدنانير غير منصرف, قيمتها 1000, the خبر that becomes the sifa of دنانير, فلا شفعة لا نفي الجنس, وإذا قيل له إن المشتري فلان فسلم الشفعة ثم علم أنه غيره فله الشفعة. Alright, so that's basically what we have over here. Alright, now this is quite long today, so I'm going to try to cover this as best as I can. Okay, so first of all, إذا ادعى المشتري ثمنا أكثر وادعى البائع أقل. So what's happened over here is, if I draw this on this side over here, it'll make more sense. So ادعى المشتري, so this guy has sold his property, right? And now this guy over here is the shafi. And the purchaser, the buyer, is this guy over here. This guy has bought the property. Okay, so the mushtari is claiming that he actually purchased this for 150k. And the seller is saying, no, I sold it to you for 100k. Yeah. So there's a dispute between the buyer and the seller of how much it was actually sold for. So now what does the shafi take it for? Remember, the shafi has won the case now. So what does the shafi take it for? So he says, إذا ادعى المشتري ثمنا, the mushtari has claimed it was for 150k. أكثر, which is more. وادعى البائع أقل, and the seller is saying no, 100k. منه ولم يقبض الثمن, and at the moment the seller has not taken the money yet. Right, so the money has not been transferred yet to him. Right, so qabad, which is possession, has not taken place yet. So now in this case, what's going to happen? So he says, أخذها الشفيء بما قال البائع. The shafi will take it for whatever the buyer says. Right, so basically this is going to be the claim that's taken over here. So he's going to take it for this amount, 100k. This is if he hasn't taken the possession of it. Okay. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ حَطًّا. So legally, what is this going to be counted as? So we're going to count it as though, we're going to say it's as though the original was 150k, the seller decided to reduce it by 50, so now it works out to be 100k, so that's 150 discount. We call this a hatt. Alright, so hatt has taken place. So that's why it says, وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ حَطًّا. This deduction is going to be hatt al-mushtari, from the mushtari, meaning the seller has reduced it from the mushtari. This is if the scenario is qabad has not taken place. But what if qabad has taken place? Yeah, what if the possession actually is taken place? So qabad has taken place, then what? So he says, وَإِنْ كَانَ قَبَضَ الثَّمَنَ أَخَذَهَا الشَّفِيء. Then the shafi will take it بِمَا قَالَ الْمُشْتَرِي, for what the mushtari says. Right, so if he has taken the money, so this is obviously they're disputing post, right? So I mean, if I was to draw it like this, so let's say for example, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If they're arguing about this case, so the Monday was when the transaction happened, and Friday was when the money was taken, so qabd took place on Friday. So if they, over here, if they were to dispute it from Monday all the way till qabd day, then shafi takes it for whatever the seller says. But if they were to dispute it after qabd, then in that case he's going to take it for whatever the buyer says. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so وَلَمْ يُلْتَفَتْ, and it will not be considered, look towards إِلَى قَوْلِ الْبَائِعِ. So the qawl of buy is not going to be considered. The seller's qawl will not be considered over here. You're going to look at what the buyer says over here. Yeah, so this is buyer, and that one is. Does that make sense? So if I was to write it over here, it just makes more sense. So look at what the buyer says, and over here you look at what the seller says. Seller and the buyer. Make sense, yeah? Okay. Right, next masala now. وَإِذَا حَطَّ الْبَائِعُ. Now, what if the seller was to give a discount, like a proper discount, and there's no real argument here? Yeah, إِذَا حَطَّ الْبَائِعُ الْمُشْتَرِي بَعْدَ الثَّمَنِ. Actually, let me make this over here. It's going to make more sense. Alright, so this is seller, and this is the shafi. This is the mushtari, okay, the buyer. So now, he says, إذا حط البائع عن المشتري بعد الثمن. If the seller, so this guy is the seller, if he was to reduce a price, so let's say for example, he originally charged him 150, let's make another price, let's make it 200k. That was the original sale price. And now he's actually given a discount. He says, you know what, I'm going to reduce it by 30k, minus 30k. So he's giving him like a discount. So now does the shafi take it for the 200k or the 200 minus 30, right? So in this case, he says that amount will also drop from the shafi as well, right? So therefore the shafi will end up giving 170k. Okay, that's the price he's going to take it for. So he's going to get the discount as well. So if the seller does a discount for the mushtari, the shafi automatically gets that discount as well, right? So he says saqata, that will drop from the shafi as well. Shafi will get that discount as well. Wa in hatta jami' al-thaman. Okay, so that's one scenario. So let's write that over here. So he gets it for 170k. Now what if he was to reduce it totally? He said, I'm going to give you free of charge to you, right? So he minus, in this case, minus 200k. 200k minus 200k. What's going to happen over there? In other words, is the shafi going to get it for free or not? So a full deduction, a full discount, then the shafi still has to pay the full price. So he has to pay full. Yeah, full price. He doesn't get any deduction there. So وَإِنْ حَطَّ جَمِيعَ الثَّمَنِ لَمْ يَسْقُطْ ذَلِكَ الشَّفِي. That will not drop from the shafi. Right, so discounts will not drop from the shafi if it's a full discount. Partial discount, it will drop. 90%, 80% discount, that will drop. Okay, what if the other way around it happened? What if the buyer, he actually does a reduction? So let's actually draw this one over here. Yeah, so let's say for example, let's do over here. So here the buyer says, I will increase you, I will give you extra, so 200k, and he says I will give you plus 20k. He's added, so it becomes 220k now. Yeah, so now does the shafi have to give the original amount, or does he have to give this 200k? Does that make sense? So he says that وَإِذَا زَادَ, and when the mushtari increases, so this is the mushtari, if he increases the buy fi thamani lam talzam ziyada, the ziyada will not become necessary upon the shafi. The shafi will still have to give the same amount, which was 200k. Yeah, he's going to have to give 200k. Right. That. So the ziyada, right, let's go there, like that. Make sense? So lam talzam, it will not become lazim upon the shafi to give the ziyada. Everyone understand this? So if the seller was to reduce discount from the mushtari, the shafi gets that discount as well, unless it's a full discount. And if the buyer was to increase anything, then the shafi, he gets it for the original price. He does not have to give the extra amount. Okay, that's that then. So let's have a look at this one. All right, so okay, إذا اجتمع الشفعاء فالشفعة بينهم على عدد رؤوسهم. So let's say for example there is a house which is obviously for sale, and there's this buyer, and there are, let's say, 3 shafis, and they all have equal rights. Yeah, so there's, we call it 1, 2, 3. There's 3 of them. 3 shafi. We call them shufa'a. Okay, shufa'a. So إذا اجتمع الشفعاء فالشفعة بينهم على عدد رؤوسهم. Right, so the shufa is going to be between them equally according to how many heads they are. It's not going to be according to the amount they own. So let's say for example, there is a property over here, and this guy, this first guy, guy number 1, he has property, like if you add all the properties together, he has 20% of as a neighbor, and this guy has 50% as a neighbor, and this guy has 30% as a neighbor. Yeah. So you're not going to look at the shuf'a with regards to how much percentage they own. You're going to look at their heads, basically, the number. So it's 3 people there, equally, all 3 people have the same right. Even if this guy has only got a small flat, small property, and this guy's got a bigger property, and this guy's got a medium-sized property. Does that make sense? Okay, so, I mean, another way you can look at it is, let's say, for example, they want to buy this house, and this house is worth 100k. So if they want to buy the house now, they're going to become owners of the house 1/3 each. So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 owners. Yeah, they are not going to become owners. Like, he's not going to become 20% of the owner, and he's going to become 50% of the owner, and he's going to become 30% of the owner. And ownership is going to be divided amongst them according to how many they are. So that's 3 of them. So they're going to become 1/3 owners of the house if they all decide to buy. Right? They're just going to become shared owners. Okay. So that's that. Let's write this down then. So إذا اجتمع, so when comes together multiple shafis, فالشفعة to the shufa, so multiple shafis, the shufa is between them according على عدد رؤوسهم, according to the number of their heads, 3 of them. ولا يعتبر, and it won't be considered the difference in their ownership, 20%, 50%, 30%. Make sense? Okay. All right. Now let's say, for instance, a property is being sold with non-currency. Yeah. So, for instance, let's say this is. I'm gonna keep drawing this guy's keep. Yeah. So this is the guy, and this is the shafi, and this is the mushtari. So what's happened is they've actually purchased the house, but what they purchased it for is, let's say, for example, a very expensive shirt. Okay, so he's given him a shirt, and he's given him the house. So now, what does the shafi buy it for? The shafi doesn't have this shirt. So manishtara is what he says. Manishtara, whoever purchases, daran, a property, bi'ardin, with some goods, non-currency goods, أخذها الشفيع, the shafi will take it, بقيمته, with the value of this. So let's say he's going to find out what's the value of this shirt. So the value of this shirt equals to, let's say, I don't know, 50,000. Allah knows best how expensive shirt this is. But 50,000, let's say. So what's going to happen over here? So he's going to take the value of that and then give him it. All right. If this guy was to sell it for something that's weighed, right? So something that's weighed, or something that's measured in cups. Yeah. So let's say, for example, weighed is, I don't know, 100 kg of wheat. He bought the house for 100 kg of wheat, or he bought the house for 100 cups. 100 cups or liters of olives. Yeah. So what's going to happen here? How is he going to purchase this? What's the method of purchasing over here? So he says, إذا اشتراها بمكيل أو موزون. If the seller buys it for something that's measured, makil, موزون, something weighed, أخذها بمثله. Then the shafi, because he's able to get hold of 100 kgs of wheat, he just gives 100 kgs of wheat, not the value. Right? So he's going to find 100 kgs of wheat, or he's going to find 100 cups of olives, and he's going to give them. But the shirt one, the reason why he gives the value of the shirt, because this shirt is considered to be something which is non-fungible. Right? So we call this non-fungible. Remember we talked about non-fungibles when we talk about buyu. So this is non-fungible. If you can't remember this, go back to buyu, watch the buyu one. Again, non-fungible, these are, which basically means is dawat al-qiyam, and this is fungible, replaceable. This is like treated like currency. Yeah, so these two are treated like fungible goods. Okay, next, we got through this quite fast, mashallah, mashallah. You guys, barakat guys. This is the du'as that you guys have been making, I can tell. All right, so next, إذا باع عقارا بعقار. Okay, so let's say for example this is the guy. This is his property. Shafi, this is his property. Only one color. And this is the mushtari. So the mushtari has actually purchased this for his own house. So they've swapped houses, house swapping. Right, so he's given him this house and he's taken this house. Or he's given this house. Right, so it's house swap. Yeah, so what happens in a house swap? How does the Shafi then deal with this? Does he have to get the same house? How does it work over here? Yeah, so remember we talked about previously the fungible, non-fungible. But a house is obviously something which is non-fungible. So it's not replaceable. You're going to have to get it for the qima. So he says, إِذَا بَاءَ عَقَارًا. So when the seller sells a house, بِعَقَارٍ, in exchange for another house property, أَخَذَ الشَّفِيءُ, the Shafi will take this house, كُلَّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْهُمَا, each one of them, بِقِيمَةِ الْآخَرِ, with the value of the other. Yeah, so in other words, he will take it for the value. So if it's this house that he wants, he's going to take it for the value. If it's this house, then he takes it for the value of this house. Yeah, so this house's value is, let's say 150k, take it 150k. أخذ الشفيء كل واحد منهما, he takes either one of them, بقيمة الآخر, with the value of the other. Okay, so that's simply straight away, just like the cloth one. Okay, وإذا بلغ الشفيء أنها بيئت بألف. Right, next masla. So it's reached the Shafi. Let me see if I can fit it in here. Alright, so it's reached the Shafi. So this is another masla. And this is the Shafi. Buyer. Shafi. No, so let's call this guy Zaid. Shafi thought that the house has been sold to Zaid, and he was happy. He was happy that Zaid bought the house, right? Because it's not going to cause a nuisance. Then what happens is, this masala is going to come in a bit anyway. Yeah, so we'll keep this one, but let's go back. The Shafi hears that the house was sold for 1,000, right? 1,000. So the Shafi said, no, I don't want it. It's too much. Right? I'm not happy with it. Then what happens is later on he actually finds out that no, it wasn't sold for 1,000. It was actually sold for less, or it was sold for wheat, or it was sold for barley. Yeah, which equaled 1,000. Either one of them equal 1,000. Yeah, 1,000. So either number one less, number two for wheat, and number three for 1,000 of wheat, barley. So he thought it was 1,000, let's say, pounds. Yeah, it was 1,000 pounds, and he found out it was less than 1,000 pounds it was sold for. So he was kind of cheated. Then what's going to happen in this case? So إذا بلغ الشفي, when he reaches the Shafi, أنها بيئت, that it's been sold بألف, for 1,000. فسلم means he hands over, he waivers his right. ثم علم, then he becomes aware, أنها بيئت, it was sold بأقل, with less, or in exchange for wheat, or sha'ir, whose value, each of them's value is 1,000, alfun, or even more than alf, or akthar min alf, but it's a different thing, commodity. Then فَتَسْلِيمُهُ بَاطِل, the original no that he said is going to be cancelled out. The courts will cancel that out. In other words, he gets the rights of shufa again now. Yeah, وَلَهُ الشُّفَعَةُ, and he has the right of shufa. Yeah, okay. However, if let me try to okay, let's look at that. MashaAllah. Right, so however, if he actually was to find out that it was actually sold for instead of pounds, it was sold for dollars. Yeah, $1,000. Yeah, no, sorry, it was sold for dollars, which equals 1,000 pounds. So dollars that were equal to £1,000. Yeah, so dollars equal to £1,000. Does he now get his right again? So no, he doesn't. وَإِنْ بَانَ, if it becomes clear أَنَّهَا بِيئَت, that the property was sold, بِدَنَانِير, in another currency, and I've just said dollars, it just makes sense. So the dananir, silver coins, whose value is £1,000, فَلَا شُفَةَ لَهُ, he doesn't get shufa. Alright, so he's lost his shufa, khalas, end of story. Finally, إِذَا قِيلَ لَهُ إِنَّ الْمُشْتَرِي, so this was the one that I originally done, and then I had to change it because I just forgot. Yeah, so, oops. Why have I brought this in here for? Alright, khalas. So let's say, for instance, this is the property. Apologize, guys, the colors are getting all crazy. Let me know, guys, if you enjoy these colors, if you like me drawing. Alright, so he has heard Zaid is buying the house, and Zaid's a really good friend of his, and he's happy that he's getting it. So he says, I don't want it. No, I don't want it. Yeah. So he's kind of given up his right. Then he finds out it's not Zaid, it's actually Khalid, and he doesn't like Khalid. Yeah, so he finds out later on, no, it's Khalid is the one, so not Zaid. Khalid's bought the house. So now his no gets cancelled out, and he can actually have the shufa again. Yeah, so وَإِذَا قِيلَ, if it is said to him, إِنَّ الْمُشْتَرِيَ, that the buyer of the house is Zaid, Fulan, فَسَلَّمَ الشُّفْعَ, and he gave it up. ثُمَّ عَلِمَ, then he realized, أَنَّهُ غَيْرُهُ, that someone else, Khalid, فَلَهُ الشُّفْعَةُ, then he gets the right of shufa. Khalas, khalas, khalas. Alhamdulillah, guys. It's a long dars today. Alright, so let's see what's happening over here then. Let's see if you guys remember the maslas, yeah? You ready? Take a breath. Let's go. So if a person wants to get shufa and there's a dispute between the seller and the buyer, seller is saying I sold it to you for 100k, buyer is saying for 150k, what does the shafi take it for? So yes, the answer is, if it's before possession, he takes it for what the seller says, and if it's the dispute is after possession, then he takes it for what the buyer says. Yeah, so straightforward there. Okay. All right, next one. If the seller was to decrease the price for the buyer, what did the shafi get it for? So the shafi gets it for that discounted price. If the seller was to decrease all the price, 100% of it, what does the seller get it for? The shafi get it for full price. If the buyer was to add some extra amount onto the end, what does the shafi get it for? He gets it for the original price, not the added. Yeah. Okay. If there's multiple shafis who are claiming shufa for one property, what are their rights? So their rights are going to be, are their rights according to how much percentage they own of the property around that house? Or is it according to the number of heads? So we say it's a number of heads. Yeah, so if it's 3 people, then they have 1/3 ownership each. Okay, next one. Okay, if a person was to swap a property for another property, how does that work? Yeah, so property, in that case, he's going to get it for the value of the other property. If a person was to sell a property for some non-fungible goods like a shirt or something, then what? He gets it for the value of the shirt. If he was to sell it for in exchange for something which is fungible like weighed or measured items, what does he do? He has to source those measured or weighed items. If a person was told that the property was going to be sold for 1,000 and he waived his right, and then later on he finds out that it was actually sold for less, or for wheat or barley, what happens? He gets his right back. Okay, if a person was told that, however, it was sold for a different currency, the same value as the original price, but in different currency, then what? Then he doesn't get shufa. If a person was told that the house that he was being sold was sold to a person he knows and he's happy, and he waives his right of shufa, then later on finds out that it's another person buying the house, then what happens? He gets his shufa back. Khalas. Jazakumullah khair, guys. Watch the video again. If I went too fast, try to understand it, make sense of it, make notes as well. If you got some nice notes, send it over to me as well. I'd like to see your notes. Jazakumullah khair, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you to all my patrons. And if you guys want to become patron, please consider it. It means a lot to me. It helps my channel to grow. It helps me be able to make these videos. And that's it, guys. I will see you guys next time. Please make dua for me and my channel and for the Muslims. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.